Arbois is a French commune in the Jura department in the Bourgogne-Franche-Comté region in eastern France. The Cuisance River passes through the town, which has some pretty streets lined with ancient houses. The town centers on an arcaded central square where one can sample the local wines. The commune has been awarded 2 flowers by the National Council of Towns and Villages in Bloom in the competition of cities and villages in bloom. Geography. Arbois is located some 40 kilometers southwest of Bourgogne and 30 kilometers southeast of Dole. It has a typical Revermont landscape. The plain is mainly used for cropping of cereals on medium-sized plots of land. The lower slopes consist mainly of meadows surrounded by small hedges for dairy farming. There are some vineyards in the same area. The rest of the hills is occupied by small vineyards with a few scattered meadows. The top of the hills and the plateau are heavily forested. Communication and transport access to the commune is by route nationale N83, which comes from Mouchard in the north and passes through the town, before continuing south to Barvely. The D469 goes west from the village to Matheny and the D107 goes east to Mesnec. The D14 goes north to Villers-Farlay and the D246 goes south to Pupillon. The town is about 40 minutes drive from Dole, Bourgogne and Lons-le-Saunier. It takes about 1 hour 30 minutes to Geneva and 1 hour 45 minutes to Lyon. SNCF Arbois. The railway station is just north of the town and all Bourgogne-Franche-Comté trains serve this station. The nearest TGV station is at Mouchard on the Paris-Switzerland line. Aerodrome. There is a small aerodrome in the north of the commune with the ICAO code LFGD and a restricted use runway. Hydrology. Arbois is traversed by the Cuisance River and is part of Revermont since it lies at the foot of the plateau of Lons-le-Saunier, the first plateau of the Jura. Together with Salins-les-Bains and Poligny it forms Revermont country. Climate. This small historic city has a very mild climate with little humidity. The presence of vineyards reflects this, and the Loue and Doubs rivers are far enough away to limit the occurrence of fog in the winter. The influence of the small Cuisance River is low. The climate is rather continental with cold winters and little snow but hot in summer. Neighboring communes and villages. History. The origin of the town of Arbois dates back to remote times, but it is difficult to be specific. It is certain, however, that its wines were known to the Romans. Until 1260, Arbois was a villa, a town without defenses. It was surrounded by ramparts during the following 10 years. Arbois endured 7 sieges when it was part of the Duchy of Burgundy, including sackings by Charles I of Amboise, Henry IV, and Louis XIV. A castle was built in 1270, some vestiges of which survived the dismantling that Louis XIV ordered in 1678 following the conquest of Franche-Comté. The remaining stretches of wall pierced 4 arches, 3 round towers, and the square Gloriette Tower. When the Republic was proclaimed at Lyon on the 13th of April 1834, the town joined the revolt against the government, which promptly sent a small force of grenadiers, cavalry, and a battery of artillery to subdue it. The U.S. 36th Infantry Division liberated Arbois in September 1944 as it moved up the Rhône towards Bourgogne and then on to the Moselle. Heraldry. The Arbois symbol is the heraldic pelican, which is called a pelican in her piety, who was feeding her young from her beak. This is a Christian symbol and is accompanied by the motto of the city, which is Sic is quos diligio. The Arbois band, which plays during the Bio Festival, is called La Pelican in reference to this symbolic bird. There is also a Gauguin music band called Bio Music. The arms use the colors of the city, yellow and black, which are an allusion to yellow wine and dark forests. Administration. List of successive mayors. Population. Population change sources LDHEHESS Cassini until 1962 INSEE database from 1968 Economy. Arbois is a small rural town with a rich historical heritage and important advantages for agricultural activity such as viticulture, an industrial enterprise among the 10 largest in the department, and tourism based on its heritage and gastronomy. There is, however, some economic fragility with an aging population and sensitive industries at risk of relocation, a degradation of the diversity of shopping, and an overestimation of the value of property to deter young households. Agriculture. The area produces some of the best Jura wines, including Vin Jaune and Vin de Paille in the Arbois AOC. This is the dominant activity. Arbois has many wineries such as Henry Maire, Rolet, Tusset, Claret, Garcia, and Fumy-Châtelaine. The Arbois appellation d'origine contrôlée was introduced in 1936 and covers 13 communes on the hills and valley slopes surrounding the town. One of these, a small village named Pupillon, is particularly known for the quality of its wines, which come from a patchwork of vineyards planted on south-facing, limestone-rich slopes. Wines from these sites are sold as Arbois Pupillon. Arbois wines are produced from around 2,100 acres of vineyards, planted with Chardonnay, Sauvignon, Halsad, Pinot Noir and Trousseau. About 70% of Jura's red wines are produced under the Arbois name, along with about 30% of its whites. Some bottles are labeled with the saying, Arbois wine, the more you drink, the more it goes right. An old familiar song, the Tourdienne, is a song on the wines of Anjou or Arbois. It is also mentioned by Jacques Brel in his song Pour mon dernier repas, as well as by Hubert Félix Ifn in Le Cancoillotte. In 1285 the Count of Chiny used to offer it to his guests during the Chauvency tournament, according to the troubadour Jacques Bretel, who drank it in the company of Henry de Brie. Arbois also has dairy farms in the AOC of Comté and Morbihan. Industries other than wine contribute to the wealth of the commune, including Bost-Garnache Industries, which manufactures screwdrivers, SIOBRA, who does ink injection molding, and CIFC, who build industrial wood framing. Culture and heritage. Civil heritage. The commune has a number of buildings and structures that are registered as historical monuments: the Brand Consort's House, the hydroelectric power station, the Delort House, the Hôtel de Broche, the Fruiterie Vinicole d'Arbois, the Béchet Mill at 2 Avenue Pasteur, the Château of Verhoux at 2 Rue de Verhoux, the Château Bontemps, the Gloriette Tower. The Tour Gloriette was built in the 13th century together with the Tour Velfo, and integrated into the Château Pecot. The Gloriette was one of the principal elements of the city's ramparts, which stretched for some 1,200 meters. It was badly damaged in 1503 when the Cuisance overflowed its banks, with a height of 17 meters and a square base 11 meters on each side. The current tower was restored at the beginning of the 16th century. Although the city was attacked by several armies, the tower itself was never attacked. Louis Pasteur's house. The Pasteur house contains many items that are registered as historical objects: a bathtub, a tabletop stele painting, Virgin and Child, 3 daguerreotypes, an inkwell bon marché box, a drawing, the funerals of Atala, a drawing, bust of a young woman, a plate, Pasteur born at Dole, a painting, a clear night at Aigueblet Lake, a statue, Christ, a praxiniscope, a gypsum plate, 3 chairs, a commode. The Palace of Justice contains a bronze clock which is registered as an historical object. The Château Pecot and Velfo Tower. The Château Pecot was built in the 11th and 14th centuries and once belonged to the Dukes of Burgundy. It now houses a small museum dedicated to wine growing and production. By the 13th century it was part of the defences of the city. Its large circular tower is known as the Tour de Velfo after the tower's owner, Guillaume de Velfo, who sold it to Nicolas Perronneau de Granvelle, the father of Antoine Perronneau de Granvelle. De Granvelle added to the house proper at the beginning of the 16th century, at the end of which the Pecot family acquired it. During the French Revolution the house was nationalized and sold in 1826 to the city of Arbois. Later the Institute of Wines of Jura restored it. Other sites of interest: the Hôtel de Chi, then became Sarret de Grozon, Grande Rue, today an art museum which displays, among others, the works of Gustave Courbet. The Fountain of Lions, Place de la Liberté, a fountain, Rue de Courcelles. The Eau de la Cuisance, near the bridge on Rue de Hôtel de Ville. The Arbois wine-growing area. The Belvedere de l'Hermitage. Les Planches Cave. The Hôtel du contains 3 items that are registered as historical objects: a painting, Saint Antoine painting, Saint François painting, Saint Martha. The hospital contains several religious and other items that are registered as historical objects: a chalice with its paten, a casket for holy oil, a wooden clock, a bronze mortar, 70 ceramic pharmaceutical jars, a bronze clock. Religious heritage. The commune has several religious buildings and structures that are registered as historical monuments: the old Ursuline convent, the Church of St. Just. The Church of St. Just has a 12th century nave, a 13th century vault, a 16th century chancel, and a 17th century church tower. The organ is rated as a historic monument and was restored in 1985. The church contains a very large number of items that are registered as historical objects. For a complete list with links to descriptions and pictures, click here. Other religious sites of interest: the old Collegiate College of Notre Dame, Rue Notre Dame, converted into a wheat market in 1802 and today a cultural center. The Chapel of Notre Dame Libératrice at l'Hermitage. The church has a group of items that is registered as an historical object: an altar, retable, altar seating, 2 credenzas, and a frame. The presbytery contains several items that are registered as historical objects: a painting, the Nativity, a pitcher and basin, a statuette reliquary, the Immaculate Virgin, a cross, Christ on the cross. Personalities. Born in Arbois, Jean Vuillemin, doctor and poet from the 16th century. Joseph Morel, captain of the county, defender of Arbois during the siege by troops of French General Armand de Gontaut-Biron. Jean-Étienne Joseph Borde, sub-prefect of Saint-Claude. Jean-Étienne Baron, sub-prefect of Saint-Claude. Pierre Bouvineau, magistrate, president of the court of Arbois. Jean-Baptiste Courvoisier, lawyer at the Parliament of Franche-Comté. Pierre-Claude Bousson, captain of the 3rd Regiment of Dragoons and Knight of the Order of St. Louis. Ignace-François Bousson, general and noble of the Empire, Knight of the Legion of Honor. Jean-Charles Pichegru, general, commander-in-chief of the Commandant and chef de l'armée of the Rhine, MP for Jura. François Guinchard, captain of the army. Jean-Antoine David, General of Brigade. Jacques-Antoine Adrien de Lort, General and Noble of the Empire. Charles and Joseph Domet de Mont, soldier, geologist, councillor for Jura, and Knight of the Legion of Honor. Charles Victor Barbier, Captain of the Army. Claude Charles Joseph Gabriel Joliton, Captain, Knight of the Legion of Honor. Jean-Pierre Jacques, Captain, Knight of the Legion of Honor. Claude François Bosson, Adjutant to the 4th Regiment of Hussars, St. Helena Medal. Jean-François Saillard, Captain, Knight of the Legion of Honor and the Order of St. Louis. François Joseph Noir, Sergeant in the Old Guard, St. Helena Medal. Anne-Claude Bellon-Deligny, noble of the Empire. Auguste Napoleon Parandier, engineer, inspector general of bridges and dikes. Alphonse Joseph Charles de Montréal Brevins, artist, painter and designer. Auguste Pointelin, painter, landscape gardener. Jules Viennet, sculptor in the 19th century. Ernest Carillon, cleric and historian. Emmanuel Templar, artist, painter. Joseph Sylvestre Sauget, botanist. André Borde, politician. Charles Brune, politician. Jean Badré, officer in the French army, then priest and bishop, decorated with the Croix de Guerre, the Resistance Medal, and the Legion of Honor. Gabriel Girard, a Maquisard who participated in an attack on the German police on 14 March 1944, arrested on 26 March, condemned to death on 30 May, and executed on 1 June at the citadel of Besançon. François Chamberlain, resistance fighter, arrested on 1 March 1941 and shot on 18 September at the citadel of Besançon. Jean-Luc Bouillerit, Bishop of Besançon. Jean-Paul Genet, shepherd, Arbois. Yves Gravel, painter. Residence: Jean-Baptiste Patrauld, born at Ray-sur-Seine and died at Ville-Matthias, friar at Arbois. Professor of mathematics for Napoleon I and for Jean-Charles Picot, grew at the Royal Military School of Brienne-le-Château. Louis Pasteur, chemist, physician, microbiologist. René Garros, resistance fighter originally from Lons-le-Saunier, participated in an attack on the German police on 14 March 1944 at Arbois. Arrested on 26 March, condemned to death on 30 May, and executed on 1 June at the citadel of Besançon. Joseph Nietzsche-Vatel, painter, Doctor of Philosophy of Art and New Technologies, professor at the School of Visual Arts in New York City. He developed a computer virus program at the Pasteur House during his stay at Arbois from 1990 to 1993.